Did you bring some fish?
That is quite logical, Captain.
Where shall I strike?
Test your might. Test your might.
Get it out! Get it out!
Test your might. Test your might.
Your mother was a murderer! You smell like a leopard! You are not prepared!
Hello, card-carrying geeks within the sound of my voice, and just about within the sound of Robbie Glow's voice, if it holds out for the whole show. This is show 120 of the Geek Card, and it will be a short-form show because Robbie Glow is feeling a little under the weather and has a bad throat, and as such, his voice may go on us at any time.
I might hit second puberty with my voice. But yeah, I've had one of those weekends where it's been so fucking cold, I've actually got a sinus infection.
Oh, that's no good.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
But it's you know, the weather's it's not too bad to complain at, really, at the minute. It's not like in America.
That's true.
Where, you know, what was it, like colder than Antarctica one day or something?
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. But yeah, how have you been?
I've not been too bad. I can't complain. I've had a good day at work today because I had my annual review and I was marked as above and beyond in all categories. So I'm very pleased with myself.
Yay!
And we have a little bit of exciting news in that we're buying a house.
You are.
We
Exciting.
have spent at least a whole week, if not two, adulting properly with like solicitors and large sums of money and contracts and all sorts of things.
Scary amounts of
It's
money.
terrifying, honestly terrifying, trying to be this much of an adult. But yes, we are. Having said that, we are planning to make one of the rooms in the house into a wizard study. So, you know,
Oh, good.
we're not adulting too hard, people. Let's not get carried away.
No, that's fair.
What about you, Robbie? How was your geeky week?
My geeky week, it's mostly been involved trying to fix people's broken tablets and broken iPhones.
Oh dear.
Yeah. People don't know how to look after their technology very well.
Well, yes, not juggling it is a good start.
Yeah, well, you know, Apple's got to be useful for something, right? But no, I've been doing some tinkering, as I like to call it, this week with some technology stuffs, and I've also been doing D&D. I had that battle royale thing the other weekend.
Yes, how did that go?
There was 10 people. I came 6th.
Nice.
But to put it into context, the first person died within 45 minutes, and then it was 2 hours before the next person died.
Wow.
And then it was that sort of thing. I almost made it to 6 hours. It was 5 hours and 46 minutes before my character died. So yeah.
So was
That's
this
probably like 5 turns, but still.
Oh wow! So it just took a long time to get a turn off.
Oh no! We were quite quick with turns. It just like normally, you know, with D&D it takes forever. But
yeah,
I had time limits between turns, like, you know, those chessboard clock things.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you had to be really quick and just hit the button when you finished and all that. So, you know, so you'd actually you'd get penalised if you'd gone over time.
Mm.
So yeah, it was quite intense, but it was quite fun. I was an Arcane Trickster in the end, and cool. I did spend a lot of time doing trickery.
Nice.
Which is nice. I did manage to put a ball. The way that the Battle Royale worked was that there was a load of rooms, but each room went to a different room, depending on what you rolled. So it was like a portal. So you could go through a door thinking you get into the other side, but you actually re-emerge on the same side of the door you just tried to cross.
Oh, so it wasn't just like an open arena where you just all...
No. Because if it was an open arena, then wizards would have a huge advantage.
Yeah.
But no, there was a sort of... It was like like 4 quadrants with lots of walls and stuff in it, so there was line of sight tactics and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it was pretty good. I wasn't playing to win, but I definitely was glad I wasn't the first one to go. So That was quite good for me.
Yeah.
And then in WoW, we've got one more boss left in Uldir,
Yes, we have.
which is the hardest boss because, of course, it's the last boss, and even in LFR, people still struggle with it. So I'm kind of thinking we might be stuck for a week or two on that one. But we managed to get through the second to last boss. I think it was like second time. It was something quick, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Once we realized that like healers had to be in different quadrants, we were all right. We're like, oh, I'll just stand still and move out of the shit, but don't walk across the whole room when I'm out of line of sight of someone. It's fine. So that went all right. So we're going for the last boss of Uldir, and then hopefully we can start on the new content soon.
Yes.
We also had a bit of success now that the difficulty in mythics has changed, because we were talking about it in game, weren't we? Where like a mythic 2 is actually the equivalent of a mythic 4 now, or something, isn't it? That we sort of said it would be.
Yeah, because
Sorry,
I was going to say I was getting very annoyed and disheartened at the fact that we'd gone back into mythics that we previously had, or at least mythic difficulties that we previously had pretty much on farm, and suddenly we were struggling with them. But then it was pointed out to me that the mythic, the mythic 2 that I thought we were doing was actually a mythic 4, and the mythic 4 is now the equivalent to a much harder mythic if the patch hadn't happened. So
it's like a 6 or a 7, depending on how you look at the scaling.
So
it was actually probably our best, even though we didn't do it in the timer. It was probably the highest one we've done this expansion.
Yeah. Not that we got any good gear from it, but there you go.
No, but we get the 390, 395 gear out of the chest on Wednesday.
That's true. Yes.
So it does go up a bit. So we're sort of starting to make progress, aren't we?
I think we're adding in a bit of the old PvP for some of the 400 or 385 level stuff has certainly helped, because I got a level 400 shield I was very pleased with.
Yay. Because we PvP'd.
We did. Well, we PvP'd because there's finally some incentive for the Alliance to PvP, which is very amusing listening to all the Hordes QQ that they're now getting beaten up by Alliance in PvP.
We don't have any. We don't get the overwhelming odds quiz. It's like, well, maybe be shit at PvP for a while and then you'll get it.
It's not even that. I think there's just more people playing Horde. Because there are some servers where it's like no one's getting the bonus because it's mostly Alliance players, but on ours it's almost definitely the only people playing PvP are Horde.
Yeah, I mean, we did have a good lot of fun with that though. And hopefully sometimes we will try and incorporate that into the week so that we can get a bit more of a gear chance, because it's nice to have that in the week.
Yeah.
But you found that we was it Saturday night we sort of were like, oh well, we've done the mythic now, what do we do now? And I was like, why don't we just do some dueling?
Yes. that level 400 shield was put to good use.
Yeah, I mean, it's the age-old question of who would win the Blood Death Knight the Blood Death Knight or the Prop Paladin. The answer is neither, because it times out.
Yeah, even though the Prop Paladin was 10 item levels lower than the Blood Death Knight. I still think it would have eventually gone the way of the light. But there we go.
You'd hope.
Yeah. But there we go. Yes, so that was good fun. Have you had any D&D that's not the Battle Royale, or is it just...
Oh, that's not the Battle Royale. Yeah, we had our session the other morning, and my monk still doesn't understand that he can't just climb every tree he sees because he's not that intelligent. He's like, oh, I've done it once, so that means I can do it all the time, right? No.
Nice.
No.
Nice.
And I gave my the concoction of alcohol that I made to a swashbuckler, and he had disadvantage, so that was fun.
You buckled his swash, did you?
I did. I put stuff in his flask and then asked the wizard that was in our party to could you actually no, is it a warlock or a pyromancer, but it was prestidigitation anyway.
Nice.
And I was like, just make it taste nicer than it might actually be, because I'm not sure how this tastes.
Lethal.
So I'll just make it. Yeah, exactly. So we made the impression that it was actually amazing. We wanted more of it, to which then we got a huge advantage in fights against him, so it was fine.
Nice.
Nice. How about yourself with D&D?
Yeah, so we've sort of... half skipped forward and then sort of tiptoed back in terms of the Water Deep Dragon Heist campaign. We sort of jumped ahead on plot a little bit, but then the plot unfortunately got away from us, and we've had to sort of backtrack and try and hunt down people we need to speak to and all this sort of thing. My character is plotting serious political intrigue in terms of getting one side off fighting against the other. And I'm very much enjoying the Slippers of Spider Climb, because he now just basically treats all terrain as if it was flat. So the other day we were told to rescue someone's cat from inside a building where a monster had been locked in by a scared woman, and we didn't know we didn't know how to get around the back, because it was one of these sort of terraced houses type things where you can't get through the back except via the house itself. So I just walked straight up the wall, over the roof, and down the other side. So,
as you do.
So yeah, Spider Priest is still a thing, and we're lining up to take on the second part of this campaign, which is a level 5 to level 20 mega dungeon, freaking huge one. And I'm lining up a character to start in that, and I'm very excited about it, to the point where I've actually been statting out its progression from 5 to 20, assuming things all go according to plan. So it's going to be the character's going to start it off as a half dwarf, so which I'll be using the human variant rules, so that she's slightly taller than a dwarf, but stocky as well. She is going to have taken 1 level in fighter, because she started out in the dwarven regiments, but then she's actually paralyzed from the waist down by an enemy she's fighting and protecting people from, and she then decides to she spends a year sort of convalescing and feeling terribly sorry for herself before discovering or not converting to, but discovering the religion and the rune priest practices of her uncle, now deceased uncle, and she begins to experiment with magical runes and infuses the legs of her plate armor into sort of mobility device, for want of an expression. So when she's wearing the legs, they're powered, and then from there on, I'm taking points in Artificer and Wizard as she slowly converts her plate armor into a full suit of weapon
of kickassery,
of weapon strewn yes, kickassery, and she basically decides she's powering the suit with arcanely charged lodestones that the dwarves mine from their mines, but she decides that instead of having them power her mobility for her whole lifetime, she could use them to power something bigger for a one huzzah adventure. So that's the slightly Iron Man-esque character build I'm doing for this, which I think is going to turn out to be really good fun.
Nice.
It's cool because you can do things like, the little missiles that fire out of Iron Man's shoulder and hit people. You could reskin that from Magic Missile, because you get a burst of them, and the flamethrower he has in the Mark 1 suit, you can just use the Burning Hand spell for that. So there's loads of little easy convert things that don't require any home brewing or anything. So yeah, it should be fun, but I won't be playing that for a while. I'm just getting excited building a character for no apparent reason.
Theory crafting's fun. It's fine.
It is. Yes.
You're allowed to do that.
Good. I have permission from Robbie Close, so that's fine.
Yes, something like that.
Okay, so as we mentioned, short form show, but let's dive into a little bit of geeky news. What have you seen on your travels through the week this week, Robbie?
So, we were talking a couple of, might have been a few shows ago, about Amazon and them being generally a bit shitty with certain things, but I did come across the automated delivery robots that they're testing in the US at the minute, called Scout robots, the 6-wheeler things. Before we started recording, you'd mentioned that you'd actually seen one and that it hadn't actually, done very well. But Amazon is experimenting with their delivery robots. It's a little tiny 6-wheel truck that they're calling a Scout. which is meant to be able to deliver parcels at walking pace, is what the description of it says. They will only operate during the day, and they will have to be accompanied by an employee initially, so they're not automated straight away. So it's a trial to see if there's a viable alternative to using road delivery, as in, because this isn't technically on road, and the kind of idea of it is that it can go to places a lot easier than a person in a car could go to, like quickly and more efficiently. So, you know, for example, if there was like a huge apartment block, like theoretically this could use a lift to go up and down to the level and go to the door of the person, rather than someone trying to find a parking space, then going up to the flat only to find that someone's not there, and all that, you know, bollocks that goes on with that. But the funny thing about this is that they're saying that it can be that could be used to deliver coffee and pizza to college students, and I'm like, of course it can. Like, to me, that's like a no-brainer, isn't it? Like, you know, next you'll be asking it to deliver beer,
yeah,
you know, to a house party or whatever, because that's of course what an automated thing would be abused to do, isn't it? Like, it's just gonna happen. But you were saying that you'd seen not a branded one, but I guess just a generic white one.
Yeah, I think I saw what must have been a test run for something, but it was in Southwark in London, and it was tootling along down the street, and it was ever so slightly, well, it was going in a straight line, but it was just going in a straight line that was different to the straight line that the road went in. So its left-hand wheels fell off the edge of the curb, and it rolled off of the pavement and into the road. Thankfully, it's quite a quiet street, so there was nothing to cause it damage. But a lot of people had sort of been a bit curious, because this wasn't accompanied by a person that I could see. A lot of people it had passed had either stopped and sort of backed away from it, not knowing what it was, or they'd sort of found it amusing or taken a picture of it. But when it fell over, no one really sort of wanted to do anything about it. And there was about 3 people passed, and I was on the other side of the road, so I didn't sort of go over to help it myself. But as I watched, there was a woman who came up and talked to it, asked if it was okay, put it back on its wheels on the pavement, and said, "There you go." And she sort of stood back for a bit and waited to see what it did. And a couple of sort of heartbeats later, off it drove, carried on down the street. So it was quite amusing. But yeah, I hadn't seen anything about them since. So I figured that's what these were, like delivery robots. But yeah, I'm not quite sure.
It's quite cute in a way. It's like,
yeah.
I was trying its best. The thing that not confused me, but sort of made me think a bit like, okay, if they're going for the autonomous route, how do they deliver a package securely so that it recognizes that the person it's delivering it to has A, seen that it's there, and B, goes out to retrieve it?
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd have to be like text a code to put in to unlock the box or something.
Yeah, I'd assume that, but like they've not given really very much detail about how that's going to work, whether it's going to be using a phone or an app, or, you know, you just use code on the actual thing itself. And
then you've obviously got, you can't just have a code that unlocks the whole storage compartment,
it's got
because
to be unique to that person's delivery, or else.
Yeah.
And also, what's to stop the person from actually taking a different package?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's got to be individual containers that open up to, you know, have just your item in it.
Yeah, it's a very odd one, isn't it?
But, I don't think it's a bad idea, but I am slightly bemused by the logistics. I also don't think it's a necessary idea, because the only real advantage it brings is it's cheaper for Amazon because they don't have to pay delivery people. And I don't really like innovation for that sort of purpose. It's like, well,
obsolescence people. Or...
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's nothing that the robot can do better than the human could have, but it's being done anyway.
Yeah, it's a bit of a naughty one in my book, but I can see why this might be useful in certain situations, but not as a general fix-all. But yeah, I mean, Amazon's been in the news a lot because of tax and not paying people properly, or working conditions are horrible. But then they're fine to do innovation like this, and I'm like, oh, it's only because a robot can't complain, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's probably
That
not
just me
not
being
too far from the truth.
I was about to say, was that just me being skeptical?
I mean, I like the idea of having a delivery person chaperoning it to start with, because actually then what it becomes is an automated carrying device that means that the human just has to guide it and make sure the right person gets its deliveries and doesn't have to carry heavy objects or pull heavy objects. But once you start, you know that the impetus is going to be to get a human out of the process as quickly as possible. So.
Yeah, and I'm not happy about that.
But these things are apparently inevitable. We don't seem to be able to halt the desire to put all humans out of business. And
selective innovation.
Yeah,
that's not a thing, is it? Yeah,
probably not. No.
No.
And if you follow me on Twitter, I'm usually tweeting about my particular preferred solution when we all find that we're out of jobs. Well, except probably Robbie and I, because we're going to have to fix the robots when they break down. But that's another story.
We'll be the tinkerers in the shed. Don't worry, we've got a job for life.
Well, there we go. So
yes.
So yes, it's interesting to see where robotics is going. From a purely technical standpoint. I mean, this thing must be guided with lidar, and visual recognition cameras and GPS and a whole 9 yards. So,
no joke. Someone asked me if lidar was to detect if people were lying, and I was like,
"That's quite cute. I like that."
I like your not ignorance. What's the other one?
Reasoning.
Not even reasoning, it's like gullibleness.
Oh, I see.
It's like, oh, you really think that's what it's for? No, it's to make sure that you get caught speeding, mostly.
Well, I guess, if someone had explained to them the theory behind the gaydar and then someone had explained to them the word lidar, you could see how they might have...
I know. Technically, they're technologically ignorant. I'll just put it like that.
Fair enough. Oh, well. Well, I have something rather different from robots, but strangely not 100 miles away. Did you know that Idris Elba, or Idris Elba even, if I use his name right, is part Robot? He's part Robots. Yep.
Really?
Apparently, in the new spin-off from the Fantastic Four. Gee, did I really? The Fast and Furious series, which has had decidedly more films in it than Fantastic Four ever had. Nice. The two characters played by Jason Statham and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, being Hobbs and Shaw, are being spun off into a new film where they are teamed up, even though one is an ex-spy criminal and the other one is a dyed-in-the-wool American law enforcement guy, as sort of car-based adventurers and action heroes and all that sort of good stuff. Very Fast and Furious, you might think. Kind of not, because it turns out that Idris Elba is the bad guy in this film, and early on in the trailer, which dropped early on in the trailer, you see Idris Elba being worked on by some sort of high-tech robotic robots, robot arms and all this sort of thing, doing work on him. And later on, he's seen as, well, he's super strong, he's super fast, he's bulletproof.
He's gone Super Saiyan.
He's gone Super Saiyan, yes. His levels are over 9,000. Yeah, and then the premise appears to be almost like a sort of superhero movie with the super cop and the super spy in cool cars having a buddy action comedy movie thing with a super robot Idris Elba. It's all a bit
It's all a bit kind of, this isn't the thing I signed up for.
It's getting a bit silly, I have to say. Also, Idris Elba's character's name is Brixton, which is not a supervillain's name. It is the name of the stop on the end of the Victoria line in London.
It's like, that would be like calling a superhero, like, I don't know, Compton or something.
Yeah. or Kentucky.
or Nashville, or Nashville the superhero.
It's it's a bit like Fast and Furious was never super sensible to begin with, but it's all got a bit dumb.
But I do have a bit of a guilty pleasure for Jason Statham films, though.
Oh God, yes, Jason Statham and The Rock. I mean, I'm totally going to go and see it, but
yeah, and that's exactly why they. And now they. But to be fair, they just added Idris Elba just to get the trifecta. Like we have three really awesome actors and silly actors in Jason Statham's case.
I love how Gizmodo sum up this article. They close with how long until it's Avengers Endgame of the Fast and the Furious, where everyone's got superpowers now and the cars are also Transformers, and maybe it's in space.
Yeah. What?
Well, if you do want to see this, it's out 2nd of August, not August 2, before anyone says that. And I have to throw things down the internet at them. It's at cinemas 2nd of August, but that's probably the UK release date because this is from gizmodo.co.uk. So check your local listings if you fancy a bit of Idris Elba as a super robot being hunted down by The Rock and Jason Statham. Actually, when you sum it up like that, it's kind of awesome.
What, the hidden trifecta?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, exactly. That I should be on their marketing campaign.
Well, I mean, that is a suitably silly way to end this short show. We will be back, hopefully, if Robbie is feeling up to it and still has a voice, next week.
I know. Could you do the honours, because it's been a while, though?
Could I do the honours? Oh, what, of inking up the stamp and making this all official? Like, well, in that case, I will need your geek card. There you are, thank you.
All official, like.
Yes, has to be. And then I'll dig out the stamp. I wasn't expecting this. It's all very unexpected. Right, there we go. Okay. One more week, up to date, official, as Robbie's special request. I even stamped it in blue ink for once. There you go.
Oh, thank you. Normally it's blood red or something.
Something like that. So, yes.
Until
next time.
And also don't forget VOG Network.
Yes, VOG Network. For if you need more geeky podcasts, because this one was short, then head over to vognetwork.com. And there are some amazing podcasts out there for people who like the Geek Card.
Yeah, and also don't forget that Corin Wolf was on the latest Girls Gone Well.
Oh yes, he was.
So that's fun if you want a good listen.
Go listen to a grumpy paladin.
Go listen to our raid tank.
Yeah, basically, yeah. You can tweet at the show at TGC Show. Robbie, how can they follow you?
You can find me on the Twitters at Robbie_Glow.
And I am at RZBG. I am. And until next time, that will have to do it for us, I'm afraid. Goodbye.
You've been listening to The Geek Card with your hosts, Razerbug and Robbie Glow. You can find The Geek Card wherever fine podcasts are found and on the web at thegeekcard.podbean.com. The Geek Card is a proud member of the Voice of Geeks Network, where you can find other amazing podcasts like Orange Lounge Radio, Starboard Power Coupling, and Girls Gone Wow. Find out more at www.vognetwork.com.